The defense, I think, is going to be top-notch, one of the best in football like it was last year. I expect Houston to win the AFC South.
He could do everything. He could play off. He could play man. You can leave him on an island. He can come up and tackle. But his ball skills, I think, separate him from the pack. But Derek Stingley Jr., him and Patrick Surtain right there, 1A, 1B as far as best cornerbacks in the league.
This is a legitimate AFC championship team?
This is a team that I could easily see playing in the AFC Championship.
The Houston Texans have gone from bottom feeders to back-to-back division champs. They've won playoff games in consecutive seasons for just the second time in franchise history. And with CJ Stroud heading into year 3 and one of the league's most dangerous defenses behind him, they're ready to run the conference. For years, the AFC has belonged to the Kansas City Chiefs as they've been the gold standard, winning, intimidating, and rarely being challenged when it matters most. And of course, yes, there are teams like the Bengals, Bills, and Ravens that have taken their swings, but now a new threat is emerging from the AFC South. They're younger, hungrier, and built differently. And because of that, this is why the Houston Texans are the scariest team in the AFC. Now, of course, we have to start with CJ Stroud, who over just a year ago, we were talking about as one of the best rookies in league history, as the second overall pick out of Ohio State led the Texans to an unlikely playoff berth and win just 12 months after being one of pro football's basement dwellers. Expectations were high for Stroud as a number 2 overall pick, but he absolutely beat every expectation, winning an almost unanimous Offensive Rookie of the Year award after a season that saw him throw for 4,108 yards, a touchdown to interception ratio of 4.6, and a passer rating of 100.8, which put him above the likes of Joe Burrow and Patrick Mahomes as a rookie. Largely due to Stroud's brilliance, the team went 10-7, beating the Colts in the final week and dethroning Trevor Lawrence's Jaguars in the final week of the season from winning the AFC South. And then in his playoff debut, Stroud was absolutely magnificent, throwing for 274 yards and 3 touchdowns on just 21 attempts, finishing with an almost perfect passer rating as he absolutely dissected a Cleveland defense that ranked number 1 in the league that year in yardage. The team's Cinderella run did come to an end the following week with a 34-10 defeat in Baltimore, but there was no doubt that CJ Stroud and the Texans had arrived. But that's where things start to get bumpy because Stroud's second year was far from perfect. His passer rating dipped and his picks jumped from just 5 to 12. But I mean, honestly, if we are really just talking about Stroud and just sophomore slumps, they're a natural thing that happens in the NFL. And really, in many ways, Stroud was just kind of a victim of his own success from his rookie year and how well he played. Not only that too, but he also had to deal with missing his top 2 receivers, Nico Collins and Tank Dell, for extended periods of time, and he was still able to put up a solid season of 3,727 yards across his 17 games. Like, I mean, the dude's not even 24 yet and still has so much room to grow into. He's shown plenty of maturity both on and off the field during his time in the league and seems to be wise beyond his years. Like, I mean, he's already built strong relationships with his receivers and looks like a true leader on this team after just 2 full seasons in Houston. And I mean, look, if we're really talking about just what we can expect from Stroud, if we look at the past and see kind of quarterbacks going into their 3rd year, that's kind of when they tend to make their jump. Like, both Josh Allen and Jalen Hurts saw significant jumps in year 3, and with a better supporting cast and a cleaner bill of health, Stroud could follow suit as well. Some of the team's offensive struggles were pinned on offensive coordinator Bobby Slowick as the team dropped to just 22nd in the league in offensive yardage. Houston's new offensive coordinator is Nick Caley, who spent the last 2 seasons with the LA Rams as a tight ends coach and passing game coordinator. Last year's Rams finished top 10 in passing yards despite significant injuries to their top 2 receivers Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp. Texans fans are going to be hoping that Caley's experience in the passing game will help take this team to the next level. Like, I mean, the offense has the weapons to thrive. The main man in Nico Collins, who started last season on fire, leading the league in receiving yards before a hamstring injury, sidelined him for 5 weeks. Despite that, even, he still managed to put up 1,006 yards across 12 games, and if he stays healthy, anything above 1,300 yards feels well within reach in 2025. And that's the thing too, he's definitely cemented as Stroud's top target, but he's not the only option now. One big offseason acquisition was Christian Kirk, who arrived in Houston as a result of a trade with the division rivals Jacksonville Jaguars. Kirk is now in his 8th season as a pro and his 3rd team, having spent the first 4 seasons of his career in Arizona. Like Collins, Kirk has suffered injury in recent years, but he's had success in this league, most notably in 2022 when he put up over 1,100 yards in Jacksonville, helping the team to a late season surge in an unlikely playoff berth. He's likely to be the wide receiver 2 this season following a serious injury to the promising sophomore Tank Dell, who figures to miss the entire season with serious injuries to his ACL, MCL, and LCL. And that's the thing too, is Kirk's time in Jacksonville was kind of interesting as it was an example of him as an experienced receiver who helped elevate a struggling young quarterback, who in that case was Trevor Lawrence. And I mean, considering the cost to go and get a guy like Christian Kirk, it only cost him a 7th round pick. I mean, honestly, that's a great addition for such a young quarterback that just needs to find a little bit more stability. And as we've already talked about too, Stroud is great at just building those relationships, especially with his receivers that he already has. So I'm sure it's going to be easy for him and just Christian Kirk to get along together. And not only that too, but just Kirk is such a great option at route running and just being a secondary option to Nico Collins that it's going to help fill that hole that Tank Dell was going to be in. 3 picks, Jaden Higgins and Jalen Noel, both of Iowa State. These two formed a formidable partnership in the 2024 season with 2,377 receiving yards between them and were both named. On the ground, the team will be just as reliant on Joe Mixon, who impressed in his first season in Houston last year, having been traded from Cincinnati. Mixon put up 1,325 scrimmage yards and 12 touchdowns, both of which led the team. And yes, even though Mixon will be 29 by the time the season does roll around, he certainly looks like he has plenty left in the tank for this team. But this is the thing though, the thing that truly makes Houston terrifying, it's the defense. Last season, the Texans ranked 6th in total yards allowed and 5th in takeaways, and the unit only got better as the year went on. At the heart of it all is All-Pro corner Derek Stingley Jr. After an impressive 2023 season that featured 5 interceptions, Stingley elevated his game even further in 2024, earning first-team All-Pro honors alongside Broncos corner Patrick Surtain. In 2024, he turned into a full-blown shutdown corner, the kind quarterbacks avoid entirely, and with good reason. Stingley allowed a passer rating of just 39.6 when targeted, which is nearly identical to throwing the ball in the dirt every single time. And despite being targeted less than many others, he still racked up 5 picks and 18 pass defenses, which all led to him picking up a contract extension worth a nice $90 million over the next 3 seasons, making him the highest paid corner in the league. But for as good as Stingley is, he's not the only star on this defense either. Up front, veteran defensive end Daniil Hunter had formed a great partnership with second-year starter Will Anderson, with the two combining for 23 sacks last season and a combined 33 tackles for loss. Both men wreaked havoc all season on the defensive line, and both received Defensive Player of the Year votes for their efforts along with Stingley. Last year, we also saw the emergence of a few promising rookies in their secondary and safety Kalen Bullock and corner Kamari Lassiter, both of whom received Defensive Rookie of the Year votes for their efforts. These two added a further 8 interceptions between them, helping the team rank 5th in the league for turnovers forced, frequently giving the offense a good field position and earning the defense a valuable rest. Finally, Houston has a solid linebacker lineup too, led by middle linebackers Azeez Al-Shaair and Henry To'oTo'o. Al-Shaair's season was marred with controversy after the late hit on Trevor Lawrence in Week 13, which resulted in a 3-game suspension for the ex-Titan, and then was fined earlier in the year as well. However, discipline issues aside, Al-Shaair was his impressive self, recording 70 tackles and 2 sacks across his 11 games. The team was led in tackles by To'oTo'o, who had an excellent second season in the pros with 105 tackles, including 7 for loss, as he made that spot in the middle of the Texans defense his own. Even looking forward into 2025, Houston has a fairly favorable schedule with the 15th easiest schedule of any squad this year. The Texans do have the advantage of being in the AFC's and if not the entire NFL's weakest division, and will be clear favorites to win the AFC South for a 3rd straight season. And of course, as a reminder, the other 3 teams in that division are the Indianapolis Colts, who still have many questions at the quarterback position, the Jacksonville Jaguars, who have many questions across their entire roster, and with ease. Elsewhere on the schedule, though, there are some tricky matchups against the likes of the Rams, 49ers, and Broncos, also not to mention the 3 games against the other 3 AFC divisional winners from last season. Games against the Chiefs, Raiders, and Bills will be absolutely crucial to the Texans season for 2 reasons. First of all, victories in these will significantly increase their chances of getting a higher playoff seed, assuming that all 3 of these teams win their division again. But also, if this team really is to break through as true contender status, they need more experience against the AFC's elite teams and specifically experience of beating them. And now, yes, I'm not saying that losing to the Ravens or to the Chiefs is like a bad thing, but if D'Amico Ryans and his squad want to learn how to beat these guys, well, then you have to beat them. Like, plain and simple, you need to beat them in the regular season if you want to have a chance of beating them in the postseason or even later in the season just in general. And I think that kind of hung with them too last year in 2024, having lost back-to-back weeks to those 2 teams. They kind of want to try to redeem themselves at least by winning one of them this year. All in all though, this is a team that looks well placed to really make a run at a first Super Bowl appearance in franchise history this time out. In D'Amico Ryans, they have a popular young coach who has received plenty of praise for turning this franchise around on and off the field. Ryans obviously did inherit a terrible hand in 2023, taking over a team that ranked in the bottom 3 in yards on both sides of the ball, but he and his staff have worked tirelessly to transform this team from one of the worst in football to a real Super Bowl contender in just 2 years. I think a big thing too is that the culture around this team also seems to be very positive, with little in the way of off-field drama, and seems so far removed from the later days of the Deshaun Watson era. Stroud and Ryans appear to be on the same page, and Houston fans appear to have real reason to be positive going into the 2025 and even beyond that. And yes, of course, there still are several very good teams in the AFC, and Houston will have to navigate their way past at least one, if not 2 of these teams in the Chiefs, Bills, Ravens, and Bengals in the playoffs. But if they can hit the ground running, they have a real chance of taking advantage of a weaker division and giving themselves even home field advantage in January. Only time will tell, but the Texans team has all the ingredients to be a serious contender. They have a legit young quarterback, an impressive head coach, strong offensive weapons, and a defense that is capable of flipping any game on its head. Don't be surprised in February if it's the Texans taking the field in Santa Clara, looking for a first ever Lombardi trophy. And overtime is here, ladies and gentlemen. Appreciate all you guys that have been commenting overtime. Again, if you made it to this part of the video, comment overtime. Let me know what you guys think about the Texans right now. Truthfully, I can't even lie. I'm a Saints fan, and for all, just, I'm going to be straight up. For the Saints, it's, even though they're not about this video, for the Saints, I hope they lose every game. I want to draft Archie Manning. I want a complete rebuild for the Saints, but that's a whole different video. If I had to put like my second favorite team, it would probably be the Texans, just because I really like CJ Stroud. I really liked him coming out of college as a rookie, and just truthfully, I think the dude is phenomenal. Obviously, like I said in the video, he had a sophomore slump. I don't think that's going to happen again, but who knows? Again, when you have an offensive line that is as bad as what CJ Stroud had to go through with last year, it was just horrendous. I vividly remember the Lions-Texans game where he just got completely exposed all game. And by he, I probably should be saying that offensive line, because they were just all over him every single play. He was just in the backfield. So I think that the big thing here is again, comment overtime if you made it here. And you know what? I'm going to do this too. If you are the first person to comment overtime, then I will give you, I'll Venmo you $5. How about that? Why not? I'll Venmo you $5 if you're the first person to comment overtime. So let me start the timer, get this timer going. And we are underway. So I think with the Texans, the first big thing is that CJ Stroud is just going to have to continue to develop going into his 3rd year. As I've said, we saw Lamar Jackson, especially Josh Allen, when they kind of fixed his mechanics and everything, we saw him take that big jump. So I think that's going to be a big thing, is to ensure that Stroud is just continuing his development and building on what he's already had, so that way he can continue to play well. And we kind of almost see a shift back to what we saw in his rookie year, because he looked a little hesitant at times this past year, which, I mean, I don't blame him. Again, you're probably going to be having doubts of when you catch the ball in the backfield that you're just going to have a defensive lineman in your face right away. So I totally get that. And I'm just looking at my notes on here too, is that you can really see that the team is, they're buying into Stroud. We saw the trade for Kirk Cousins. I don't fully understand the trade away of Laramie Tunsil. I mean, that's a little questionable. You got rid of your best offensive lineman for, I guess, picks, which, I mean, if you want to get younger at that spot, I get, but kind of got to start over now. But bringing in Nick Caley, too, that's a big offensive addition, too. And I think that he is really going to be able to, if he can bring over some of what Sean McVay has for the Rams, I think that could be big for the Texans, especially with what Slowick was, too. I remember Slowick was like, everybody was like, oh, he's a head coaching candidate, and then completely fell off the face of the earth when he had a terrible second season with the Texans. So I think that some of the play calling with Stroud this past year was kind of one of the main reasons of why he was playing so bad too. We didn't see as many rollouts. It was more so him just standing in the pocket, throwing a 5-yard slant to Nico Collins and hoping that he would break free on that. And I think, you know, you lose Diggs. They had no receivers besides Nico Collins when he was healthy. And even when he was healthy, the dude was getting injured and then put on IR and all of that. So here's my thing though. Here's the biggest reason why I titled the video this way and why I think the Texans are legit contenders, and it's their defense. That defense is one of the scariest units in the NFL. Like, you have Will Anderson Jr. and Danielle Hunter coming off the edge. Will Anderson by himself is already a menace, but then you had a veteran presence like Danielle Hunter who can also affect the game. It's crazy. And then you have the guys in the back, not the backfield, the secondary, that it's just crazy, especially how well Derek Stingley was playing. If Stingley can play like that again and just shut down one side of the field, put him on the number one receiver, you know, locking up whoever it is, whether it's Devontae Adams, Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua, just named like 3 Rams receivers. If I know any other receivers in the NFL, Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, if he can lock up those guys, you know, maybe not fully lock them up, but like stop them from having 300-yard games, 200-yard games, I think the Texans can be a force to be reckoned with this year. And again, I'm not saying maybe stretching it to try and say they're going to be the 1 seed. That's a little bit of a stretch, but I mean, they should probably be a 2 or a 3 seed this year. I mean, they're playing in the AFC South, and the AFC South by no means is a good division. It's like the NFC South of the AFC. Both South divisions are absolutely like terrible. There's one good team in there, you know? So again, I think as we look at their schedule too, going back to their division, they play 6 games against some of the worst teams in the NFL. Like, maybe you could say the Jaguars are going to be a little bit better. Like they're going to obviously have a better chance against the Texans, but for the most part, the Texans should run right through that division, especially with the Colts not having a clue of who's their quarterback and all that. So, but my big concerns that I think that just reasons of why they might struggle this year, it's again, that offensive line. They gave up, I think, the second most sacks. Yeah, the second highest in the league with 52 sacks. I mean, that's not close to Caleb Williams, who had 68, but I mean, just the inability to protect the quarterback, it's been what has hindered them. And I get it. Yes, you can say Joe Burrow hasn't had an offensive line, but you got to get the dude some just something so he can at least feel a little bit good when he catches a ball in the backfield. You know, I only got a minute left, but I think a big thing too was that their setbacks from last year were a lot of injuries too. If they can just stay healthy, if Nico Collins can stay healthy for the entire year, they're going to be good. I mean, Joe Mixon was playing great football last year as a 28-year-old running back. Like, we saw the resurgence of running backs. I think if Joe Mixon can play just even equivalent to what he played last year, that would be perfect for them. But again, personally for me, I see the Texans as a contender that's kind of being slept on in the AFC right now. So I think that personally, I want to know what your guys' opinion is. Do you think the Texans are going to be legit contenders? Do you think they have a shot, or are they just going to be kind of, you know, what they've been in the past couple of years where they win? Oh, timer went off. Are they just going to be where, you know, they win one game and then in the playoffs and then they're done? Like, that's what we've seen the past 2 years, where they beat whoever they play in the first round and then they just get hammered in the second round. So let me know in the comments what you guys think. I'm truly excited for what the Texans can do this year, especially in CJ Stroud and that offense. If they can play well, that defense is already solid. The offense has just got to show up. So let me know in the comment section. Again, if you are the first one to comment overtime, $5 will be sent your way. So let me know. Hop in the Discord where we'll continue the discussion. I will be trying to start a newsletter soon, or even just, you know, something to help you guys out, get you an email or newsletter or something. So let me know what you guys want to see. Appreciate it. And as always, I will catch you guys in the next one.